Okay, so roughly when I was in middle school, I was going to sneak peek events for Yu-Gi-Oh! This was around the GX era. This is like when Air Hummingbird Neos was coming out or whatever. And I also was one of those anime kids that pretty much watched the anime, built the deck around cards from the anime, and ran way too many trap cards than what was good for the deck. One time I went up against a quote-unquote pro player, and his advice to me was to obviously build a deck around a theme. As even at this point in the game, archetypes were starting to dominate the way decks were built. Not completely, but it was getting there. So, little old me had two options. Assuming I didn't have an older sibling that played, I couldn't be told how to play. I had to do it on my own. So, there were two decks. Six Samurai, which would later actually become a Tier 0 deck, like in a knot if I had stuck with it. What was the other deck? Aliens. Here we go. Here we go. Another episode of Oz versus the World. Here we go. Alright, so we're testing out the new Aliens, guys, and quite frankly, I don't think the new support really gives them much to do with their A counters. I mean, they already can destroy stuff. You know, they have some combos. There's like one card I use. I think it's like Alien Pup or something. It basically allows me to special summon it when I summon an alien monster, and then it distributes A counters accordingly. Alright, so he's playing Lyricist? I remember that deck. It's like an Arc 5 deck. Played by one of the characters that didn't really get to do much in the anime. I think she was just like one of the main protagonists' sisters or something. Alright. Oh, Tri-Brigade. Okay, so it's a Lyricist Tri-Brigade build. I mean, they're both winged beasts. I could see them working off each other. Alright, so she goes for the Tri-Brigade Link. Tri-Brigade Finemp de Baron. Finjet de Baron. God, these names. And I think when that card goes to the graveyard, it allows the opponent to draw one card and put one back in. There's a lot of effects that do that now, I'm telling you. Hell, some just let you draw cards and keep them. Like Coral Dragon. Coral Dragon's awesome, by the way. Alright, finally. It's my turn. So... Alien Kid, a kaiju monster. I think that one is Alien Overlord, and it allows me to special summon it. You'll actually see it in a minute, but it allows me to special summon it by taking away 2 A counters on the field. It's actually pretty good. It's not bad. Certainly not bad for the deck. I think it's like 25,000. It's like level 6. It's not bad at all. Alright, this is the combo I was telling you about a little earlier. Where I normal summon an alien, and then it allows me to summon my... Oh, I was close. It's Alien Dog. Alien Puppo. Alien Doggo. Looks like I'm putting A counters. I start off. I put some A counters on her Tri-Brigade. Alright, it looks like we're going to go for Cosmic Pierce Zaloof, one of the new supports, right off the bat. I already normal summoned the other one. Alright, looks like I'm going for Alien Overlord. I take away them counters. This is also I can get my Zaloof out. Because it's like Link 3, so you need at least 2 reptiles. So, of course, before I get rid of the Overlord, I'll give him another A counter. That's the entire deck, pretty much. It's all A counters. You get effects by giving your opponent A counters. Hell, you can even put A counters on your own monsters, so I'm sure there's some interesting combinations you can do with that. But for the most part, you want to put them on your opponent, because you have other effects like destroying monsters with A counters, taking control of monsters with A counters. And A counters in general, I think, decrease the attack by 500, which actually is... It's not bad. Being able to decrease or increase anything by at least 500 is relatively good. Alright, I activated its effect. It's going to allow me to search for an additional... I think it's an alien card. And then the other one that got sent to the graveyard will now give 8 counters according to its level, I think? No, it gives 2, and then it, like, blows up 1, like, the next turn after it's been sent to the graveyard. That's what the new card does. And it looks like I'm going to add a cell recombination device. That's some word vomit. It's basically the archetype Foolish Burial. Yep. Now, I could use the Kaiju at this moment, but the thing is like, that they get the draw either way. So it looks like I instead go to basically activate my recombination device, which I'm pretty sure gets Ash Blossoms at this point. It also distributes 8 counters, by the way, depending on the monster you send to the graveyard times its level. So if you send to level 4, it'll gain 4 8 counters. It's pretty neat. Oh, and it looks like time takes the match. Okay, so right off the bat, this one ends up being a struggle for supremacy because I'm going up against Monarchs. And if you're not aware what Monarchs do, they basically say, screw you, your extra deck, and your summons. I'm gonna negate everything, and you gotta deal with my big boy on the board. Along with my field spell that says you cannot go in that extra deck, brah. Fuck ya. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting show. Starts off by activating Phantasm of the Monarchs. It's always a good card. It literally lets them, like, I think it even lets them draw or search. I think it does both. So as you can see, I have a choice I gotta make here. I can either let him have the card that says fuck my extra deck, or I can let him have the card that says fuck the monster's effects on the field. Monarch's Eruption is the one that doesn't let you, and it looks like I let him take the field spell, the one that says screw the extra deck. Yeah, Monarch's Erupt is pretty much just a pseudo floodgate. It just says, yeah, your monster's face up on the board. Ain't gonna do anything. And that's pretty bad considering that I'm running an alien deck, and that's all they do is, hey, here's an 8 counter, now struggle. Doesn't really work out, so going by the field spell might have been the best option. I also have one of the alien monsters that allows me to specifically take 8 counters off the board to blow up back row. So if I have to, I should be able to blow up the field spell that just says screw the extra deck. But of course, I'm not going to go without being punished first turn because Monarchs also have a card that let you shuffle shit back into your opponent's deck from their hand. Yeah. So as you can see, I'm in a very interesting position here. And of course, I draw into the Gamma after he uses the effect to shuffle my hand. Yeah, no, I couldn't have Gamma before that, so I could have negated that motherfucker. You know, fuck me. That's how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, though. Alright, it looks like I'm going to combo with Doggo. Alien Doggo. Come on, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. Put down my head counters on that boy. Good boy. And of fucking course he has the Erupt anyways. God damn it. So all my effects are negated now, and I can't use the extra deck. Beautiful. And it looks like he just wasted my time trying to end the goddamn turn by him using an effect. It was gonna end anyways. Yeah, this is not gonna end too well for me. I don't think. I think Monarchs are a little more, they're a little too stun happy for me to be able to do anything with this deck. I don't think I'm winning this round either. Huh. That's an interesting card for him to use. Uncamouflite. Very interesting card. But considering he doesn't run an extra deck and he tries to stun you out of it, looks like it works pretty well. Because it's pretty much every effect it has. If you have no cards in your extra deck, do this and that. I don't know, guys. Should episode 4 be Oz runs with the Monarchs? I don't know, man. I don't know. Then again, when it comes to stun-happy tributable decks, I think True Draco still has that not locked down. So, if you haven't seen the other 2 episodes of this series, it's called Oz vs. the World. And there is a playlist on my channel. So if you thought this video was alright, I'd implore you to check those two out. The pilot is Starship Shaddolls, actually. And the other one is actually Master Rule 3 Heroes, which I'm surprised doesn't have more views than it does, considering Heroes were very big at that time. I mean, yeah, it was before Link Monsters, but that was one of the big rush of supports that Heroes had gotten. So, surprised no one's checked that out. It's Oz vs. the World Episode 2. Check those videos out. I also made another new series. 2, actually. I had 3 of them last year. It was a very busy year for me. I also made The Door to Darkness. And I'm actually going to be making a new one. That's going to be the next big project I'm working on. And it's going to be about a little, let's say a little Pokemon gaming league that recently got out of for some really sketchy, shady bullshit. And I do mean illegal sketchy shit. So look out for that. And then the last one I made was a show called Secretly OP. A series I made to talk about cards that I don't think are getting enough attention, that I think could be competitively viable in some way, shape, or form. I made the first episode on time theft redoer, and most recently, if you're into hip-hop, I did the worst songs of 2020. The top 10 worst songs of 2020. All of these videos can be found on Asaurus EMNT. That's Asaurus on YouTube. You can find all this and more on my channel. Alright, next up is Alien versus Evil Eye. And I pretty much get screwed right off the bat because I draw horribly. Shitty hand. Like, the worst hand I probably could have pulled. 3 texts that mean nothing on turn 1. A Scythe frame fucking normal that doesn't negate shit. And a kaiju. Ugh. To be honest with you, I lose this one, but I guess you're going to fast forward now. But nonetheless, I have to tell you that because, to be quite honest with you, I lasted longer than I should have in this round. Like, I actually, make it to, turn 5. And considering the shit hand I pull, it's quite amazing I even got that far to begin with. Especially since he just negates all my shit. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have 3 tech cards that can just remove the back row, but when you can literally just negate the back row removal, it doesn't do much. So, here we are, Struggle City, bitch. He gets his Evil Eye combo out, and now he's... I mean, that's all they do. They have, 1 or 2 monsters, and then they just, set a bunch of back row and then equip the equip spell. Because it basically makes it so they can't be destroyed or targeted by shit. So there you have it. So I go for that Heartbeat Feather Duster. Miraculously, I draw into both the Feather Duster and the Lightning Storms. Funny enough. Still isn't gonna do much. And I get fucking Scythed. For y'all that don't know what Artifact Scythe is, it basically can be special summoned, usually by Sanctum, but sometimes if it's an artifact, it can be set and then destroyed and then it's basically special summon itself. It's basically it's like the trap deck. It's like, oh, you hit my back row, oh, psych. That's what it does. And Scythe is one of those really irritating cards that just says, you can't special summon. Fucking Necros format all over again. Yeah, it's never a good thing when you're forced to set and pass in modern day Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in 2005, GOAT format, no problem. You probably would have gotten away with it too, if it wasn't for that damn lava golem. Okay, now we're gonna see one of my favorite anime cards, Card of Demise. By the way, you know how broken that card is in the anime? You basically get to draw 5 and in 5 turns, then you can pay the cost. So fucking broken. I even remember there being a live play where they do those character, back when YCSs used to exist still, they did the in-live character duels. And I thought it was the funniest thing. One year they did Eric Stewart and Dan Green, Yugi and Kaiba respectively. And I think it was Kaiba It was either Kaiba or Yugi who activates Card of Demise because they're promoting it, and it was also in the anime, and they described exactly what it did with the 5 turns, 5 draw until you have 5, and people were like, what? Holy shit. Like, people didn't know how broken that was for real. Mad funny. Alright, so now I'm getting the new Alien Buster card effect off, which is going to allow me to put counters. And the next turn I can get rid of the Scythe. Of course I would much prefer to get rid of the Evil Eyes, but they have too much protection. As you've probably been noticing, Doggy Boy seems to be like my best bet when it comes to this build of the deck, because it literally allows the aliens to do something that most of their actual support doesn't allow them to do aside from countering. And that's actually a combo. Doggy Boy pretty much summons himself whenever I were to summon an alien monster, which helps me get more material on the board, so I can extend. Alright, we're going for that second Lightning Storm. Get rid of the back row. He's gonna negate it though, because that's what Evil Eye does. So that's gone. He also activated Summon Limit, which is a very pesky card that's made to counter combo decks. So, you know, Link summons, any summons, like you can only summon twice per turn. People often say it's rogue, but if you're talking about stun, I would say it's a very, like, viable, if not necessary strategy for stun. Because obviously the idea is you don't combo as much, so you don't get anything off. So you have less of a field presence if you can't just keep your deck rolling. You have to rely on stun. It's what it does best. And Summon Limit totally represents the, nah, you're gonna slow down or I'm just gonna tell you to stop sort of method that we all know and love in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or we think is so broken that it makes the game unplayable, depending on who you are. Alright, here we go. Doggy counter. Doggy combo. We going for the doggy combo. He's a good boy. He's going to spread out A counters everywhere. He's going to get A counters all over the place. And then my opponent activates, I think it was an entertainment trap. I don't know, it's one of those weird texts that people are using right now. It's like, you target one of your monsters with it, you can negate like an opponent's face-up effect for the turn, and then the other one is like, if you target your opponent, it gets set face down. So they can't use it for a Link Summon or a Synchro. So, I mean, it's a useful kind of tech. It's funny though, because it is a literal archetype card. Alright, well, this is pretty much where the game ends, so we're gonna go to our last match here. Alright, so the last match I got on me, that I was even able to get, EDO Pro was really slow today for some reason. Might be because it's a weekday, who knows. Anyways, so I go for the Fossil Dig. I'm going to go for Miscellaneousaurus. Because I do run a small Dino Tech engine in here, but it turns out I don't really run a whole lot of dinosaurs, unfortunately, because it is aliens. But the new dinosaur support, that I'm just gonna call it Gem Crocodile. I forgot what it's actually called. It's like Amorphous something. It basically, it's good. It lets you get like aliens to your hand, and I don't know. I thought it was an alright tech, but the problem is, of course, you don't run a whole lot of dinosaurs. So I decided to run Miscellaneousaurus to see if I could try to search for one. Because you really only need to ditch Miscellaneousaurus to summon it from the deck. But of course you need to use Miscellaneousaurus, so it really is a double-edged sword. So, with that in mind, I have Miscellaneousaurus and that card that lets me destroy a monster in my hand. By the way, that's part of the reason I used that other Kaiju, by the way, was so I could literally destroy cards if tributing one of their monsters wasn't good enough. So, that's my inherent idea, but of course it kind of means I brick sometimes because it's not a dinosaur deck. Maybe I could have chose a better tech. Probably. But anyways, so interestingly enough, we're going up against Ancient Warriors. I think that's a relatively new archetype from like 2 sets ago, maybe 3. I don't know. They're kind of interesting. They have a lot of battle effects. They kind of remind me of Crusaders, but Crusaders have a lot more like you know, they have a lot more tech variants. Like they have a card that destroys, a card that gets you get cards back, and then a card that's a tuner. So Ancient Warriors, I'm not too sure about, but I literally striked his monster, and now he had the set and pass. So that's going to let me take advantage. But of course, I also didn't get the best of hands, nor did I decide to choose my techs very well. So this is the result of that. Alien Kid. Now, I'm not sure if that's a continuous effect or if it goes off when my opponent summons. I do remember trying to get it off during one of these duels, and what ended up happening was it didn't spread any acounters when I needed it to. So my assumption is it has to be while it's face up on the board and while your opponent special summons. I didn't know if you could normal summon it, but it doesn't say if you normal summon, so yeah. I don't know. It seems like it'd be an alright card. I mean, there's literally a monster in this in Aliens. I have it in the side deck, but if your opponent has 8 counters on their monsters, it pretty much acts as a pseudo skill drain, which is fascinating. But of course, considering how many combos are in this deck, I didn't really think it was viable enough to run in the main deck. But clearly, you'd want to find a way to basically put a bunch of 8 counters on the monsters, on your opponent's monsters, and then just like normal summon it or something, and just negate everything. And it's a continuous effect too, so it doesn't activate, which is the best part. Alright, so he goes for an additional link summon, gets him an effect. I think it just raises attack. He activates a field spell. Sorry, a continuous spell. Again, I think it's just mostly attack, and I think he gets a search off. Yeah, his link gave him a search. And that's pretty much going to end his turn. He's just going to take forever to do it. Alright, so we finally get my turn going again, and I'm ready to roll. I got like combos in grave, I got combos in hand, I got combos for days. Let's go. Start off by activating Lightning Storm. Gonna destroy the back row. And for some reason he changed a very useless card. It is called Ancient Warriors Saga, Defense of the Change Band. Don't know what it does. Quite frankly, it didn't do anything to help him, protect him, or even counter. So, don't know why he activated this, so we're gonna keep going. Alright, it looks like I'm going for a search. Because again, the Abomination card. Again, it's not the same turn it's sent to the graveyard, but you can search. It does allow you to search for aliens, which is why it's pretty good. It has an engrave effect, that's always handy. Alright, it's the Overlord. I thought it was going to be Doggy Boy, I forgot. Alright, it looks like we're going for that destruction. We'll activate the new alien monsters effect. Get rid of that monster. Next I'm going to summon Alien Ammonite. I don't think this is a card I've been able to use yet. This is actually an interesting card that came out a couple years back now, at least. And it's basically like their Monster Reborn and a monster effect. And it's also a tuner, because they have a synchro too. Unfortunately, I don't get the synchro out during any of these replays, but you will actually see it in the extra deck, because I'm like, anything that can just like take back row and like put it back into the hand via Baronic style. Can't be that bad. Although I think it is according to Acounter, so of course you better use the actual archetype. Alright, we go for that link summon. Link's soaking. And this is another alien card. Alien Shooter? Or Shock Trooper? Might as well be Alien Stormtrooper. But, yeah, it's interesting. That also came out a little while back. That isn't part of the new support that was recently announced on, in Japan. This one lets you discard, I think it's a monster? Or just a card, and you distribute Acounters accordingly. And time of the round. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. That's all I was able to get. EDO Pro was really dead today. But I figured I'd showcase some of the new alien support. If you guys have any suggestions as to what archetype I should showcase next on Oz vs. the World, feel free to let me know. Input is always nice. And if you want to be a part of the process of Oz vs. the World, as in be my opponent, feel free to message me.